So I just went and saw Project Hail Mary, the movie that came out on March 20th. Although actually I went and saw it on the 19th, and I know some people saw it on the 16th, so I'm not exactly sure what the actual date of release was. But I went and I saw Project Hail Mary in theaters with Ryan Gosling playing our main character, Ryland Grace, from the book Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I loved this book. I made a whole review video where I gave this book 5 stars. I made sure that I absolutely read this before watching the movie, and I'm really pleased and happy with that decision. But like I mentioned in my book review, this book really is only for certain types of people, specifically people who are willing to read very science heavy books, in my opinion. My younger brother is definitely somebody who is not particularly interested in science heavy books, and I know that this book would not work for him. But if you're good with science, you don't necessarily have to love it or be like a super sciencey person yourself. But if you're okay with it, you'll enjoy Project Hail Mary as a book for sure. What I did find is a key thing about the movie was that I think that the movie will fit well with people who aren't super big into science, because I do think that the book did a far better job than the movie explaining the science behind the astrophage and everything that was going on in this story. So, just as a quick, before I dive into my comparison video, spoiler free, between the movie and Project Hail Mary, I just want to say that if you decided not to read Project Hail Mary because you're not a particularly sciencey type person, the movie actually might be the right way for you to experience this story, and I would give the movie a shot. Okay, so let's start off with book movie comparison. The characters in the movie, specifically the actors who were chosen to play the characters from the book, I thought they were great. I was super satisfied with the actors who were picked. I think I mentioned in my review that although I thought Ryan Gosling's comedic nature was perfect for the comedy that's definitely in this sci-fi book, I personally didn't view this main character as Ryan Gosling, but I think he did such a great job. He is a really great pick for playing Grace from Project Hail Mary. I think he was a phenomenal choice, and I was constantly cracking up throughout the movie. I will say, I feel like the first portion of the movie felt a little rushed, and I think this is the case anytime a book is turned into a movie. I think certain TV series, such as Dark Matter, that TV series, because it was a series for a book, did a really good job of actually exploring like basically every single chapter of that book. And so I really felt the fullness of the story coming through with the TV series. But a movie adaptation, like with Project Hail Mary, it's going to have moments that feel rushed. And so that's like the one big critique that I would have for Project Hail Mary is, especially at the beginning, it felt like we were kind of rushing towards the main core of the story. That's all I felt. And I think it was perfect for people, again, who aren't super science heavy, because this book starts off with our main character just trying to figure out who he is and where he is and what's going on. And he uses science to do that. So it's all heavy science, science, science in the book. And I think, again, if that's not really your vibe, that the fact that the movie kind of glosses over that and kind of goes faster into the main core story, it shouldn't be an issue for you for the movie. I thought the movie was hilarious. I thought that they did a great job. I thought the changes that they made in the movie made sense for changes that needed to be made compared from the book to the movie. I, of course, love the book more, but again, I'm actually pretty satisfied with this adaptation for the movie. I also feel like I should preface, I saw the movie on like an extra large, extremely large sized movie theater screen, and I sat a little closer to the screen than I probably should have. So to be completely honest, it was disorienting for parts during the movie when the camera is flipped at different angles and then kind of slowly comes back. Maybe it's just because I was super close to the screen, or maybe they just did it too much in the movie. I don't know, but there were multiple times where I was like, oh, I'm a little disoriented. And I'm not sure if it was trying to do that to try to help like really make the fact that our main character feels disoriented, if we as the audience were supposed to like join him in that, or not. But there were moments where I was like, oh, stop spinning for a sec. But that totally could just be a me thing. I thought that the movie did a great job with the ending scene. Again, this is spoiler free. I loved the ending in this book so much. I have read the last chapter of this book repeatedly, and I honestly think that the ending of the movie did pretty good. I was pretty satisfied, specifically with the addition that the movie added, the perspective that the movie added that we did not get in the book. That just tiny little added part, I think actually was really cool and really fun and enriching. It doesn't like give it a ton more compared to the story in Project Hail Mary the book, but I did like that additional scene. I did think that the movie had to focus more, even more so, on our main character Grace than the book did. I feel like the book had a little bit more exploration into side characters, and I really appreciated that, where I feel like the movie had to not have any big emphasis on any of the other side characters in this story. And that I kind of felt was a little sad, because some of them were really hilarious and funny, and I understood why. It really is a timing thing, just because this was turned into a movie. Again, this doesn't make the movie like bad. I think the movie was a great adaptation of the book Project Hail Mary, but the side characters do get more in this story, and I really kind of like some of those side characters, so it would have been nice if we could have had more from them, but that's okay that we weren't. I think the movie overall was visually quite beautiful. I didn't think it wasted my time. Like I said, actually, there were moments where I felt kind of rushed through the story a little bit, but overall, I thought it was really excellent. So, for a book movie adaptation, I think Ryan Gosling and the adaptation for the movie that has come out in 2026 for Project Hail Mary, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I don't think it was perfect, and it's not my favorite adaptation that I've ever seen, but it's really good. So if you do want to read Project Hail Mary, I suggest you read this before watching the movie. If you're like, I'm not sure about reading a sci-fi, it's not your vibe, it's not your genre, or if you're not particularly heavily into sciencey details, then you can totally get a really fun, good story by going and watching the movie. And I think it's worth doing that if you decide that you can't read the book. Then absolutely, at least go see the movie because it's such a fun and beautiful story. I will say the only thing that I did notice, because I went with my younger brother to the movie and he did fall asleep. Now, to be fair, he's a college student who's a little stressed and tired, so valid feelings. But some people just don't like space. And if you're not a space person at all, space and science don't matter to you, I don't think there's any way for this story to work for you. My brother was going to DNF this book if he even tried to pick it up, which he won't, and he slept through part of the movie as well. So I will say on that front, if space and science are just completely removed from your interest, then don't bother. But if you have any inkling of interest, I think you'll like the book. And if you have any inkling of interest, I think you'll like the movie as well. So overall, well done on the movie's part. I do think it was a great adaptation. I'm so glad I read the book first. Love Ryan Gosling's interpretation of the main character. If you've watched the movie and you were like, ooh, that was a lot of fun, definitely try to pick up the book. Okay, it's even more, it's even better. But again, as always, read the book first if you can. Is there anything else I want to include? I think the plot went smoothly. I think we included all the big elements that I wanted to have included. I'm not remembering anything in the movie that was substantially absent from what was in the book that I'm particularly disappointed in, other than the side character developments. Those are stronger here. Is there anything else though? I think that kind of wraps up how I feel about the movie and the book. And yeah, I definitely want to reread this because you know, happy. So I'm going to re-upload some of my favorite quotes from this book. They're going to be spoiler free so that you can read over them if you'd like, especially if you are considering reading this book. These are some of my favorite quotes. So there you have it, my book movie comparison for Project Hail Mary for 2026's movie adaptation of this book. Keep reading what you love, and I will see you next time.